Is Thomas Soucek back to his best? David Moyes' new Fellaini, the perfect box-to-box midfielder, hammer of the year, all the ways that Thomas Soucek was described after his brilliant 18-month start to his life in East London at West Ham. Not a real professional footballer, can't impact the game in any way, like playing with 10 men on the pitch. That is how the last kind of 18 months to 2 years have gone for Thomas Soucek in East London in a West Ham shirt. And the dramatic fall off of Tommy Soucek over the last seasons or so has been apparent for all to see. Whether it was him misplacing simple passes or just failing to make an impact on the game, he wasn't the same player. Once a fan favourite, he quickly became the scapegoat amongst West Ham fans, with all things wrong pointing to the Czech international. However, after the sale of Declan Rice and signing a new contract, he does look like he is starting to find his form again. Has his form massively dipped to the levels that we have described at the start of the show? Should he have been judged to the level that he has? He is a Moyes favourite. Lots of fans love him. He's a model professional player. And when he arrived at West Ham back in January of 2019, under David Moyes' stewardship, his physical presence, his aerial presence were on display right away. After a few games, his ability to make runs into the box and score crucial goals made him so pivotal to this West Ham team. And he went on to score 10 goals in the Premier League in his first full season and become a fan favourite. And again, likable personality. Soucek's role has been slightly tweaked in his whole career at West Ham. And during that times of tweaking this, his performance levels dropped because of it. When things were going well for Soucek, he was making driving runs into the box. He was arriving late into the box, scoring plenty of goals. But David Moyes last season asked Thomas Soucek to stay back a bit more to allow Declan Rice to demonstrate his attacking capabilities. And with these roles, the balance never really looked right for Soucek, and he seemed like he was a fish out of water. But with his contract renewal coming in, the big decision had to be made was, where do we play Thomas Soucek? Do we sell him on? Clubs were starting to pay a keen interest in him and his quality as well. And a player that looked like he was low in confidence. Concerns at the time over his long-term future were part of the problem, maybe about his performances last season. But the show of faith from the club and Moyes seems to really have boosted Tommy Soucek. From the first game against Bournemouth at the season, he looked energised and ready to go. And obviously, we've brought new players in and have allowed him to have to adapt to a whole new team. Soucek is a pivotal part of West Ham since coming into this club. He has been one of the players that you could say has been a consistent member of that starting 11, a consistent member of that squad, a consistent member of the progression that this club has made. He is being recognised at international level week in and week out, year in and year out. Again, picking up the Czech Footballer of the Year award for the third time in his career. Vladimir Sifal finishing third in the rankings. He picked that award up back in 2019 and 2020 when he was recognised for his performances playing for West Ham on the international scene as well. In total, he has scored 12 competitive goals for club and country during the last calendar year. And while he helped West Ham last year to a 14th place finish in the Premier League, we went on to win the Euros, the European Conference League. And he doesn't stand alone in his position in the Czech Republic. He is fourth, I believe, behind the following players. Petr Cech won it 9 times, Ivo Victor won it 5 times, and Pavel Nedved won it 4 times. And now only 3 players to have won the award more than Thomas Soucek. And look at those players. He's got 66 appearances at Czech Republic level, and will be going to the Euros with the Czech Republic as well. And I feel like he is potentially back. He's back from the depths of beyond, in a West Ham shirt. And do you know what's really funny? When you look at his individual stats in a game, he doesn't touch the ball to the levels that other players do, but he seems to be really, really vital in breaking up the play. Really vital in breaking up the play. Really vital in stopping the attack coming forward. And again, we all know about his prowess of getting forward and his stats for getting goals in at West Ham. 31 goals in total in 196 appearances for West Ham, with 10 assists to add to his name. But he's been such a pivotal part of our team since he joined the club back in the January of 2020. 13 Premier League appearances that season and the half season that he played. The following season, 38 games. The following season, 35 Premier League games. The following season, 36 Premier League games. And this season, when many people thought it would be the last of him being a regular in this team, 28 Premier League appearances so far. 6 goals, 1 assist in the Premier League. Tommy Soucek seems to be respected amongst the squad. Tommy Soucek seems to be respected amongst many of his peers at West Ham. And sometimes I feel like some of the fan base don't respect him, but we're starting to see some transitions. We're starting to see some of the other players that maybe aren't fitting the pieces of the jigsaw at the right moment being dropped, and Tommy Soucek staying in that team. Do you know what? Tommy Soucek probably could have had a hell of a lot more goals in a West Ham shirt. He is so effective at getting into that box for those late runs. If you look at the game against Aston Villa, he probably should have bagged minimum 2 goals. Game against Burnley, probably minimum should have bagged 2 goals. If he could actually finish better than what he does, he would finish on higher results and higher goal scoring records. You know what? For a central defensive box-to-box midfielder at his height, as his awkwardness, in his footballing career to score at league level 71 goals. 71 goals at league level, 12 at international level. For a player like that, it's quality. He's 29. He's got a new contract at West Ham. Is he back to his best? I think he could be. I think West Ham are starting to gel, maybe hopefully at the right time. I think we've got players like Edson Alvarez who are so important to us. Again, finding that replacement for the Declan Rice situation. And we seem to have found that replacement, but also have aligned Thomas Soucek alongside him. I think the comparisons to Fellaini within reason are warranted to a certain extent. Again, favoritizing a player, even when his chips are down, his head's dropped down, and he's not performing at the highest of standards. But Tommy Soucek, for me, has become such an important player for West Ham that I actually do look for his name on the team sheet more than, not everyone, but a lot of others, because I think that they need the Tommy Souceks. And like I said, if you look at his individual stats, he may have 27 touches, but it's about, with those 27 touches, what he does. Most of the time, he's successful with his ground duels. Most of the time, he's successful with most of his aerial duels. Most of the time, he's successful with his forward passing. And most of the time, he's actually quite successful with his long passing. And he's always involved-ish, there or thereabouts, in a goal. In a goal for West Ham. 7 goal involvements in the Premier League in 28 games. 3 goal involvements in the Europa League in 8 games. 1 goal involvement in the League Cup in 3 games. So a very, very important player for West Ham. What do you think, though? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Is Tommy Soucek back to his best in a West Ham shirt? You let me know by putting it in the comments below. I just thought I'd bring this little piece to you because I thought it was really interesting to talk about Tommy Soucek and his renaissance back in the West Ham squad and West Ham team. And, you know, fingers crossed we can keep pushing on for the rest of the season. Put it in the comments and let me know. Come on, you